Welcome to Empowered Horizons Prep, the place where confidence meets communication and skills meet success.
Hi, and welcome to the Missing Career. I'm Andrea Hale, mom of a high-achieving teen, former public school teacher, and founder of Empowered Horizons Prep. This podcast is for every parent who's realized that the most important lessons, confidence, communication, emotional resilience, aren't found in textbooks or grade books. Around here, we talk about what our teens really need to thrive in a high pressure world and how we can raise them with intention, connection, and heart. We're going to jump in with when doing your best still isn't enough. Let me start with what I saw during my years as a public high school teacher. It wasn't just the straight A students cracking under the pressure. It was the kids who were doing their absolute best, grinding day after day and still feeling like they were falling short. The sheer exhaustion of chasing perfection looked different for every student. And the system rarely cared about effort, only output. We don't have to look any further than our standardized tests to see that. And part of that comes down to how schools are structured. Subjects are taught in silos. English teaches essay writing. History teaches facts and dates. Science teaches formulas. And math teaches equations. And no one teaches how it all fits together, or how life asks you to synthesize and adapt constantly. There's no collaboration between departments, no shared goals. And because of that, even well-meaning teachers often unintentionally create barriers. Take my daughter's experience in physics. They were asked to solve extremely complex problems using advanced algebra concepts that hadn't even been introduced yet in her algebra class. The physics teacher didn't coordinate with the math department, didn't know what the students were learning, and assumed they had the tools to keep up. The reality? They didn't. And it wasn't just confusing, it was downright demoralizing for them. Even high-performing students were left feeling completely inadequate, not because they weren't smart or hardworking, but because the system was fractured. John Taylor Gatto saw it too. After 30 years in the New York City public school classroom, he called it out. Schools were designed to produce conformity and obedience, not curiosity and connection. In his essay, The 7-Lesson School Teacher, Gatto wrote, "I teach students to depend on experts, not themselves." That line hit me hard because I realized when students are constantly overwhelmed, disoriented, or silently struggling with content they haven't even learned yet, we're not teaching empowerment. We're actually teaching the opposite. We're teaching helplessness. And that's why I began to pivot from reinforcing the system to rebuilding connection, because kids deserve more than a fragmented education and a GPA and test-shaped identity. Remember, in the public school system, we're not teaching empowerment, we're teaching helplessness. That realization alone didn't just live in it came home with me. When pressure becomes personal, the breakdown I saw in classroom, the exhaustion, the identity loss, the apathy, it all eventually showed up in my home. My daughter had always been the students that teachers adored. Independent, disciplined, driven. But slowly I realized that she wasn't just chasing achievement. She was actually turning into that. She was becoming it. Her GPA wasn't just a number. It was her measure of her self-worth. She was carrying a perfection mindset that ran deeper than her dad and I had ever encouraged. It didn't come from us. It came from a culture around her, from grade books that highlight zeros, from teachers who pile on content without coordination, from systems that reward performance, not process. And I saw this collide hard in one particular moment. Yep, you guessed it, that physics class. They were being asked to solve advanced algebra problems, but our algebra teacher hadn't even taught those concepts yet. The physics teacher wasn't malicious. She was just disconnected. She wasn't coordinating across subjects or considering where students actually were. The curriculum was siloed. The assumptions ran deep. And my daughter felt like she was failing before she even got a chance to learn. She started believing she wasn't smart enough, not because she lacked ability, but because the system lacked coherence. Then came that car ride on the way home. She was quiet, then emotional, and then just heartbroken. Through tears, she said to me, "Mom, I can't keep up anymore." That moment lives in me because I knew this wasn't just about physics. It was about her identity. She was drowning in expectations that didn't align with reality. And no one was helping her sort it out. We hadn't pressured her for perfection. We'd always said, just do your best. But best had come to mean to her flawless. And that was never what we intended. That night, something shifted. I changed how I responded to her achievement. When she comes to me and says, "Hey, Mom, you're going to be so proud of me," I smile and I gently interrupt her and I say, "I already am." It was simple, but it broke the link between accomplishment and approval. She started focusing on effort instead of out. She talked more about what lit her up outside of school, her interests, her emotions, her values. And while her GPA has stayed high, her anxiety hasn't. She's sleeping better, laughing more. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Everything's a work in progress, but it's a heck of a lot better than it has been. And the transformation didn't come from a better study strategy. It came from a deeper message. You are enough, even when life is messy. The shift towards soft skills. That conversation with my daughter, her breakdown in my car, the quiet panic of the grades, the identity tied up in achievement changed everything. It was the moment I stopped asking, how do we help her succeed? And started asking, how do we help her feel whole? That shift didn't just reshape our whole life. It's reshaped my entire vision. It's my aha moment, and it's what sparked Empowered Horizons Prep. My work now is helping families raise resilient teens, not just high-performing ones. Because here's the truth I had to confront. Traditional school teaches academics, but it rarely teaches how to be a human in this world we live in. And that's where soft skills comes in. So what exactly are soft skills? You hear the term tossed around a lot. The soft skills aren't fluff. They're invisible muscles that carry us through life. They're not about equations, essays, or test scores. They're about who you are when the spotlight is off and life gets real. Here's what soft skills actually encompass: communication, speaking clearly, listening actively, expressing yourself confidently; emotional intelligence, understanding your feelings and those of others; managing emotions, exhibiting empathy; collaboration, working with others; resolving conflict, offering support; personal effectiveness, resilience, adaptability, integrity, self-motivation, problem solving, thinking critically, making decisions, staying resourceful; time and stress management, prioritizing tasks, handling pressure, and setting boundaries; leadership, inspiring others, taking initiative, vision setting. These are all what allow teens to cope when they bomb a quiz, speak up when they feel overwhelmed, adapt when life throws curveballs, lead without dominating, and connect without comparison. Soft skills are the human curriculum that schools forgot. And yet every employer, college admissions officer, and mentor I've talked to says the same thing. They're what matter most. So why aren't we teaching them? Gatto once said, "School trains children to obey reflexively, but it never trains them to think independently or value themselves deeply." And that quote sticks with me because soft skills are the antidote to that. They empower teens to lead their own lives, not just follow instructions. So with Empowered Horizons Prep, I help parents foster these skills at home: meaningful conversation, storytelling, and strategies that feel doable, even during dinner. Because teens don't need perfection. They need presence. They need parents who value who they're becoming, not just what they're producing. That starts with soft skills. So practicing resilience at home. Everything we've talked about, soft skills, pressure, redefining success, it all matters. But here's the question most parents ask next. Okay, so what do I do now? That's the shift from insight to impact. And before I give you a few quick strategies to start implementing soft skills at home, I want to share a moment from last night because it's not just theory. It's happening in real time. A conversation that hit me right in the heart. Our daughter came to us struggling. Not going to go into the details because she's asked me not to. She didn't come storming into the room. She came quietly, and we knew something was hard for her to even really name or put into words. So we followed our home protocol that we've learned. We've put all our distractions down. We give her time and space to process. Their brains are still developing. She needs that time. We listen without interrupting. We respond without judgment, and we reinforce pride in her effort, not her conclusions. It was one of the hardest conversations that she's ever initiated. And honestly, it's one of the hardest we've had to navigate as parents. But she's trying as hard as we are. And that moment reminded me soft skills aren't developed overnight. They're nurtured through space, trust, and repeat practice. And they require us as parents to model what emotional safety looks like. Now, here's some quick tips you can try today. You don't need a perfect script or a curriculum. You just need intention. Here's 3 simple ways to build soft skills into your daily parenting. And it's perfect with the new school year getting ready to start. Always affirm the effort, not just the outcome. So instead of, hey, you did amazing on that test, try, wow, you studied with real focus, even when you felt stressed. That's something to note of. Why? Because effort is within their control and builds resilience far better than praise for results. Number 2, use open-ended prompts. Skip the how was school? We all know it was fun, right? Try something like what challenged you today. Is there anything you'd wished you'd said but didn't? What's something you learned that you think will stick with you? These prompts promote reflection, emotional literacy, and communication. But don't be ready to get detailed answers overnight. It takes practice. And number 3, pause before problem solving. When they vent or struggle, resist the urge to try to fix it right away. Instead, try, hey, you want me to just listen for now or help you think through it? This models boundaries, self-advocacy, and respect for their process. It doesn't sound like much, but these small shifts matter. They change the tone of your home. They signal safety and build skills that schools won't touch. We're not aiming for perfection. We're aiming for presence. We're aiming for showing up and being there for our kids. You're not alone in this. Let's practice this together. You've made it through this episode, and maybe you're feeling equal parts motivated and overwhelmed. It's totally normal. Shifting from performance-based parenting to emotionally intelligent parenting, or as I like to call it, from manager to mentor, is not a light switch. It's practice, it's work. And the good news, you don't have to do it alone. That's exactly why I created the Facebook group, Raising Resilient Teens in a High-Power, Pressure World. It's a space where we talk about the stuff that schools don't teach, how to help teens speak up instead of shut down, how to model emotional regulation when life gets messy and tricky, and how to celebrate growth over perfection, even when it's hard. In fact, here's your invitation to join us, because parenting in isolation isn't just exhausting, it's unnecessary. A soft skill challenge you can try this week. Let's wrap up today with something actionable. This week, I want you to try the already proud practice. At least one time this week, when your teen shares something, whether it's a grade, a performance, a small victory, respond with, I'm already proud of you. And then just pause. Watch their reaction. Let it land. Let it really sink in. You're reminding them that who they are matters way more than what they produce. That's where resilience begins. If you're the reflective type, grab a notebook and sit with this. Where in my parenting have I unconsciously rewarded achievement over, and what would it look like to change that? There's no shame in the old pattern, but there's power in rewriting them. Our final thoughts: soft skills aren't a curriculum. They're a culture, one built through conversation, listening, and presence. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to grow slowly, but it's not okay to do it alone. So come and join us. Let's raise resilient teens on purpose together. A link is in the bio.